Electric Cafe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. In this video I wanted to share with you and also review the 1996 album from Futique called Luv Luv. And this came out 1996 again, and it was by two gentlemen. One was Taylor Dupree and the other one was Savas Yates. And both artists that I followed a lot through the 90s and on through the 2000s. For those that don't know Taylor Dupree, he was very instrumental in the Instinct record label through the 90s. He started out doing the artwork and then was also part of the techno trio, Prototype 909, and then he also did some ambient stuff under the name SETI, and a lot of other great names like Human Mesh Dance, which I have a poster on my wall, and I'm actually wearing the Instinct Ambient shirt that I got. I mean, it's so influenced by Instinct Ambient and Instinct Records in the 90s. And if you don't know Instinct Records, it was probably most known for their techno compilations and ambient compilations, and then starting as the first label for Moby when he started releasing his stuff before he went to Elektra Records in '95 with his breakout hit from Everything Is Wrong from 1995, but his earlier works were all on Instinct, and Taylor Dupree started there as well. And he did all the artwork designs for a lot of the 12-inch records and the compilations and releases, and so he did all that. And then he was also a big part of the label in many ways. Again, with those different collaborations he had and also different projects he had. And around like 1997 at the end, this was one of the last records on Instinct Ambient, which was the ambient sub-label of Instinct. I think through like 93 and 94, the Instinct Records was doing a lot of techno, but they started to evolve and do some more ambient records, and they were getting a lot of, I don't know if the sales were really good, but the interest in that particular genre was pretty strong, so they ended up starting the sub-label, and this is the logo for Instinct Ambient here on this t-shirt, and so that started like late 94, and it went to about 96, and this was one of the last releases on Instinct Ambient Records, and this was a side project, again, of Taylor Dupree. Also features Savas Yates, probably most known for his techno work on the Trezor label. He had a couple releases on that, which I'll have to review in the future. I'm a big fan of that, big fan of those albums, and also his work. And of course, Taylor Dupree went on for the last 25 years, maybe almost close to 30 years. Now he started a 12K record, so he ran that, which is one of probably America's best ambient field recordings electronic label in the past 30 years, and he's released quite a bit of really great music, and I really appreciate that he's stuck to printing CDs and things like that, and he also does a lot of mastering out of his studio as well. Really nice guy. And he's just so influential. If I did like a top 10 or top 20 favorite American producers as far as like influence on me, he's got to be in the top 10 somewhere. He's just from his design work to his early ambient and techno works to the 12K label. He's just a fantastic producer. And in this one, they did 3 albums under Futique. This is the first one. Again, in 1996, and I think there was one in 97 or 98, and then like 2000 was the last one. The one in 2000 ended up being on a different label than Instinct after Instinct Ambient folded, and then also Instinct folded, so they went to a different label for the third release. But this one was kind of an interesting project because SETI, Savas Yates and Taylor Dupree also worked on the SETI project, which was more ambient. This one is a little bit more dub, experimental. It's a very interesting sounding album. I thought I would include it in this Downtempo focus month just because, I think of all the Instinct Ambient records, this one's probably one of the more down-tempo ones, so I thought I would include it with that. But there's ambient, dub, down-tempo, experimental. There's also a touch of minimal techno in here, but not too much. But just some really interesting sounds in here. That's one great thing about Taylor Dupree and his productions, and also specifically the Futique work there. There's some very unusual sounds, and And I don't think any of their tracks, even though they're very minimal, they're not boring, and there's some really interesting sounds throughout them. In a strange way, it's kind of a relaxing CD, but it gives you this feeling of aloneness as well. It's very abstract and very sort of spacey ambient dub, and it's got some really cool tracks on here. It's led by my favorite track number 2 called We Can Get There. Really nice melody, cool dubby groove. Also, track number 4, Lowdown, is one of my favorite, which was featured on one of the Instinct Ambient compilations a couple years later after this one, and that was kind of a spacey dub track there. The opener is really interesting. It's called Ripper. Kind of has like a detective story feel to it. Kind of a trippy, cool bass line. Kind of a strange opener, and it kind of gives you an idea of how unpredictable the album is, because it's a very different album. It reminds me of Jammin' Unit. If anybody out there knows Jammin' Unit stuff, it's just kind of on the ambient dub stuff. Maybe 4M was another artist that sort of did stuff like this, and the Kahn brothers, of course, who was in Jammin' Unit and Air Liquid and stuff like that. Just kind of has that kind of ambient dub works, but really cool stuff. Another really great track is number 5, Beamship, kind of electro dub. In this track, kind of shows you their stark space and kind of bleepy dub sound, and it's very minimal and experimental ambient sound. Really cool stuff. And if you haven't heard this album, I'd love to know what your opinion is. If there's an album that you'd like me to review for a future video, my email is down below. Just send me a message, and I'll get back to you.